Hey boys and girls, Cursed Curator and with some more lovely visual novel content. And today's visual novel is Katawa Shoujo. So it's a little bit different from the last two visual novels I did. It's been a while since I did another visual novel, but I thought this one was pretty fun, it's free, and it's pretty damn good, all things considered. But let's hop into the description of this lovely visual novel. This is taken directly from VNDB. Hisao Nakai is a normal high school student, currently in his final year of high school. One day Hisao finds an anonymous letter in his math textbook directing him to meet Vicender at the given location. Vicender turns out to be his crush. However, as she confesses to him, he suddenly collapses, he awakens in the hospital bed, and is told by the doctors that the reason he collapses is due to arrhythmia, a rare heart condition that causes his heartbeat to sometimes become irregular. Due to this, his parents have enrolled him in Yamaku, a school for physically disabled students. And that's basically the gist of the whole damn game. Anyway, that's enough for this video. Goodbye, guys. Of course, I'm kidding. So, this is a visual novel I played when I was 11 or 12 years old, give or take. This game is quite old, over a decade, well over a decade now. When I first played, it was already done. Yeah, it was back in 2012. It was the 1st of January. No, it was the 4th of January. So the game was already done by then, give or take. The game at first official release came out though back in 2009, I believe. Let me just check. Yeah, it did. Cool. But this game's history goes back like much further than that. So if you don't know, it was made by Four Leaf Studios. I'm pretty sure that's their name. Yep, that's their name. I can't believe I fucking forgot that. Oh well. So they are a lovely group of people who came from a site that we all might know called 4chan, hence their name, Four Leaf, 4chan. Before I hop into the characters, here's a fun fact about the game. Um, so it has multiple iterations these days. All coming back from its development history. There is the pre-alpha, and I believe there's also the beta that is and also the demo. I can't remember how it all exactly went. It's been a long time, but the pre-alpha is the one that is the most controversial because it features a much darker storyline compared to what we got in the end. In the pre-alpha, it features certain characters who die or are murderous, like full on. It is pretty damn wild what happens in like that whole thing. And yeah, maybe one day I'll play that on a channel, or maybe I'll also review it. Whatever comes to mind first, honestly. Let's hop into the characters. First up is Hisao Nakai himself, our protagonist. So this lovely fellow, oh boy, he is depending on the route, he can be annoying, or he can be a normal stand-up guy, give or take. But yes, he can be rather emotional. That's what I will say. So let me bust out my notes here. Yes, I took notes. I took all sorts of notes because this is a game I really did love. Um, so Hisao is not your standard self-insert protagonist because in most games the protagonist's backstory is not really touched upon at all. Like in most games, it's for the viewer who is often a male. Let's be honest about that. They are trying to insert themselves and live throughout a fantasy. Not every damn case. There's plenty of girl visual novel readers out there. Hence why there's a whole genre called atome. I believe that stands for like girl visual novels. I feel like an asshole for not actually like researching that. Let me fact check myself live. Atome meaning. Please tell me I was right. Oh, it's a gaze with like a romance theming, characterized for females. It means maiden or young girl. All right, I was right. I win. Let's go. One thing I do love about this game is that it features just how like his heart condition, arrhythmia, and he actually does battle it, and especially in the route of the next character we're gonna talk about. Her name is Emmy. We'll talk about her a bit more later. He does really battle it. In other instances, he like it's there, but it's not really hitting as hard as it does in her route, at least in my opinion. Um, I do think he does do a lot of growing throughout the game, especially considering he can, as I said before, he can be a bit of a dunderhead. He can be quite emotional, but we end up seeing him grow as a person. To be exact on the good endings, and the bad endings, we don't really know what happens to that. There's, of course, tons of fan fiction. This game's over a decade old, so of course there's tons to really go off there. But let's get to our next character, where I can talk about a lot more things about really getting into the spoiler territory. Um, I do want to, be upfront here, is that I don't want to give out spoilers for the actual story itself. I wanted to give my opinion on the characters, more or less. And I will leave it to you guys to figure out how you want to play it or not. If it sounds interesting, give it a go. But let's go to our next character. This is Emi Ibaraki, or Ibaraki? I cannot pronounce Japanese last names for or Japanese names in general. Whatever. Iba Baraski. You know what? I'm gonna give up. So this character, as you can tell, her disability is that she's missing her legs. um, she is she's a blast of energy. That's what I'll say off the top of my head. She is also, fun fact, the oldest of any character that you can romance in the game. She is 19. All the other girls you encounter are 18. And that is just how it be. Now, how do I say this? She is very cheery. She's happy-go-lucky. And she's also the fastest runner in the school. When you go on her route, she really makes Hasao work for it. By work for it, I mean not only for, to earn her love and all that, but also for him to be healthier. And she causes some things to happen. It's a whole fun time. She also hangs out with another girl. So something you'll notice about the game is that you'll see certain characters, they're bunched together. They're like a lot closer to each other than the rest of the cast. So in Emi's case, she is close to a girl named Ren. And we'll see her a bit later in this video. But I think that's one of the strong parts about this game is that the dynamics between the girls. It can be either like not there at all, or it's just really damn strong. And I love that about this game. But what do I think about her as a character? I think she's one of the strongest characters in this damn game, just due to how she acts. I love that she's like mischievous sometimes. I do love her. What's the word? Her dialogue with some of the other characters who are like background or like they don't appear as much. Like they're there as characters, but you don't see them very much after getting into the actual routes themselves. And I really do like that. And I also enjoy that. How do I say this? She doesn't really think negatively on her disability. She actually, views it as something that's good, which I think is so cool. That, of course, in many people's case, I imagine, even myself, if I had a disability, that impaired me, from like walking or I can't use my hands or something like that, I would be quite down in the dumps. But her, oh no, she's owning that shit like a boss. Let's go to our next character. This is my, I'm biased. I am so biased. This is Hanako Ikuzawa. I think I said that right. So she is our, what's the word? Our shy girl. Oh boy. She suffers quite a bit in her storyline. And it's really, really sad. But she does grow as a person. And her partner, the girl that she's besties with, her friend, is a girl named Lily. And I think that they work extremely well together. Because Lily, we'll get like on her a bit more later. She's quite refined. She's rather uplifting, in my opinion, and she's just quite understanding. And she has a very dry wit to her, which I do like. But this is not about Lily. This is about our girl Hanako. Sorry about that, guys. I always skip ahead on some things, and I always do that. But as you can tell, her disability is more leaning towards burning. She has, how do I say this, extensive scars all across her body, and you'll notice that a lot more when you get into her route and when you actually like romance her. She is very timid, excuse me, But she is quite kind and, of course, very smart. She loves books, and our first encounter with her is actually in a library, and that is very fun. But her whole arc is really helping her leave her shell, and if you like that, then she is the character to go for. Um, Beyond that, I think, how do I say this? She is an acquired taste. That is for sure. If you don't like, what's the name for them? Hikomoris, then or rather a hikomori, then she's not the one for you. But you will like her in the end. Her ending, especially on the good ending, is so good, and I felt so horrible when I got on her bad ending. It was really bad. But our next character up in Adam is our girl Lily Sato. So she is different from all the others. As you can tell, she is blonde. She is not a dyed hair blonde Japanese person. No, she is, I believe, half Japanese, and and the other half is Scottish. So here's a fun fact about her. Originally, in the story, she's supposed to have multiple siblings. I believe it was like 5 or 6, but ultimately, they went with her only having one, and she was also supposed to have a dog, but that was also cut. I thought that was pretty interesting. I've said I apologize. Something that is not apparent is her disability. She is blind, but unlike all the characters who obviously their disability happened at some point in their life, she was born with her disability. So Lily is a very caring and responsible person. And as I said before, she meshes well with Hanako, who they're besties, of course. And it's not an entire friendship dynamic. I think it's almost to a point of like a motherly bond to a degree, which I thought was pretty interesting. We encountered her, I believe, in a random room, and we just had tea with her, give or take. I say I believe because she's like one of the first like routes I hopped onto. So it was for me in order it was Hanako, Lily, and then Emmy, and then I kind of forgot some of the things as I went through. She is a really great character. I really really enjoyed her, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, that's all I can say. Let us go to our next character. This is Rin. Rin Tezuka. She has no arms. You can probably tell. This is another character who has. This is a from birth thing. Give or take. I believe 3 characters. It's from birth for their disability. But the rest of characters we see, I don't think it's from birth. It could be. It's a pretty much in the air for that. She doesn't, as you can tell from her appearance, she eats with her feet, and her uniform is a little bit different from the other girls because she has a tie on, and that's the thing we see with all the guys that they wear the ties. It's just a thing that she prefers doing. She does some cross dressing here and there. Nothing wrong with that. We love that. She's a character who, oh my lord, I want to like her, but to me, she is the second weakest route in the entire game. That is my opinion. Yes, she's a very weak route, at least in my opinion. But in her good moments, because she does have good moments, she is great. I think in some instances she rivals Emmy, and she almost reaches Hanako levels of good, but it just falls short. She's a rather eccentric character, which can be great. I do think they play a little too hard into the ignorant and absent-minded thing she has going on. Just a little bit. It's not that bad. I just recall getting so annoyed with her, and yeah, it's something I didn't like. She's also quite blunt, which I did like. Our next character is not actually a character we can actually romance though. This character's name is Shiena Makito, better known as Misha. We don't actually know what her disability actually is. Some people say bipolar. Others say that she's like ADHD. It's all sorts of things going on there. But she is an airhead. That's first thing in, right there and then. But despite the fact that you cannot romance her, not in a traditional sense. Uh, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Just to let you know, you can comfort. That's what I say about that. She's also the only character I can recall that she changes her hairstyle. By the way, Misha has two hairstyles. I couldn't find any other images, so I had to use her other hairstyle. You'll see way later in the game. Unfortunately, it's a little bit of a spoiler there, I suppose. Her hair is short in that, and in the beginning, like the beginning of the game, it is long with the twin drills. The drill hair. We love that. So her partner, her pairing, if you will, is Shizune, our next character. Well, I believe she's our next character. Yes, she is. Okay, cool. This character here is, well, loud, energetic. She doesn't know sign language, which is very useful for our next character, of course. Beyond all that, she's just there, really. It's quite a shame that she does not actually have a romance at all. I imagine at one point they considered it, but they just didn't do it. Now, this is a little bit of a spoiler for the pre-alpha. She plays a bit of a larger role in that. I recall her like being more present than she is in the actual main game itself. Of course, she appears a lot during Shizune's whole thing, and quite a bit of Shizune's stuff was cut from the pre-alpha. It was mostly involving her father and her sibling. That's the whole thing with her. But yeah. Yeah, the spoiler is that Misha dies in the pre-alpha. Yeah, she just dies. Sorry for spoiling that, but it's all quite old content. If you haven't, touched it yet, then that's really on you, honestly. Um, so Misha is part of a student council. She is a bit of the how do I say this? She's not the co-leader, but she's really just there, and she can get our boy Hasao to try and join. But you'll kind of notice how each route starts. If you really focus on one of the girls early in, it'll just force you onto that route, and you won't be able to go back. Well, you can, just reload basically. But let's get to our next character. This is the main lady, Shizune Hakamichi. I think I said it right. Better known as Shichan from Misha. I think that's how you pronounce it. This is the character who has the second, or rather, the weakest route, in my opinion. It is very much weak. So she is mute. That's the, she is mute and deaf. And that's just, that's her situation with her disabilities. She is quite competitive. You can play a whole game of Risk with her, by the way. That's a very fun thing. I believe it's solely on her route, though, which is unfortunate. But that's just how it is. She's very confident. She's a disciplinarian. There we go. I said the word. And she's very strict. You will see her being bossy to everybody. So besides, having Misha as her compadre, it's a the yin to the yang, she has a rivalry with another character from the romances, and that character is Lily. You will see a whole thing involving them. Unfortunately, it's not that deep. Unfortunately, I wish it was deeper, but it just isn't. I just didn't like her as much as all the others. I just feel like a bunch was cut, which should not have been cut, and it kind of just ruined her in the end for me, unfortunately. I feel like if they kept some of the stuff from the pre-alpha, I would have enjoyed Shizune a lot more, because the pre-alpha, of course, needed way more polish and did not kill off a whole character out of nowhere. Well, it's not really out of nowhere. She was intended to do that the entire damn time. Sorry, to take a little quick water break there. But let's get to our next character. So this character, Actually, let me rephrase this. Every character you see from here, like henceforth, are all side characters. They do not matter really. Well, they do matter. They all matter. They all add to the story. But in the grand scheme, they play a very little role after you get on the actual routes themselves. This character is named Akio Muto. He is the homeroom teacher and the science teacher of basically Hasao's class. He is a very serious person. He comes off as strange, but I do believe, and I think this is quite interesting, is he's very out of touch with everything going on. I really enjoyed that. How do I say this? I love his banter and his talking with Hasao. And I believe there was actually a fanfic where it dives into their relationship a lot more, where we see Hasao become a teacher himself later on. And I kind of wish that actually was a thing in an actual base game, where we are not forced onto all of these like routes, and we can just choose to be single, and we have like a whole arc for Hasao, and we can grow as a character on our own without relying on a external influence like all the girls basically. He appears early in the game, Muto here, and he appears a few more times later. Of course, he's a teacher. He doesn't really matter in the end. But our next character does matter. She appears a lot more on Lily's route, obviously. This is Akira Sato. This is Lily's sister. And she is a character who people wish they could romance. I've seen so many damn things about this character. She is in a long distance relationship, I believe. I can't remember. It has been so long. But yeah, she drinks, she drives, she does all this fun stuff, and I do like her relationship with Lily. It's quite a good one, at least from what I can remember. But yeah, that's all I can really think on Akira. I didn't dislike Akira. I thought she was interesting. I thought that the thing I do enjoy about this game, it's some of the characters they dress out of the norm, and this is from a decade, like over a decade ago. Um, this is a character who is obviously, she is a woman, and I believe that she does identify as a woman, she, her. Um, but she does dress quite masculine. She wears a suit, wears a tie, and her voice is rather deep for a woman. I could be wrong that she identifies as a woman, and I apologize if I did misgender. But overall, I thought she was intriguing. I guess she is like one of the first instances that I can think of that is like a reverse trap, honestly. Let's go to our next character. This is Kenji. Bros before hoes. What can I say about Kenji? He is a cynic. He is misogynistic all to high heaven. And he hates the feminists. He hates women in general. And we are hinted at in the game that he was actually in a relationship with a actual like girl, like prior to Hasao showing up. But we're not really told who it is. The only time that we have a pure hint on who it was the librarian, who we'll see later, I believe. She's actually in my lineup. Her name is Yuko, which is a fun segue into a whole fun fact. Yuko in the actual pre-alpha, we actually do know for a fact that it's confirmed that she and Kenji dated, but in the actual like full release, it's not there anymore. It's left very ambiguous. But it's of course it's like more or less hinted at in the game itself anyway. I kind of prefer it being ambiguous, that you just have to like infer from what we're given. But at the same time, like, wow, it didn't really matter if they removed it or not. The reason why he becomes how he is because the situation they were in, it was intercourse, obviously. It kind of made him freak out, and it made him into who he is, basically. And technically, he has his own route. Technically, just prepare for me really, 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 really damn short. But hey, bros before hoes. Next up is the nurse. He is a character who, well, he doesn't play much role outside of the route involving, I believe, Emmy. Yes, he's in Emmy's route, and I believe he also appears in Hanako's, like for like a few times. But beyond that, he plays no other role. But I love this fellow because he is just so so zesty. Like it feels like he was coming on Hisao a few times. He was very he was just very out there. But he's also very perceptive. He can tell when, you know, something is not not like on the up and up, which I did like a lot. He is very well liked, and he does have a heart of gold, which is overall just great. If there's a character that I wish was expanded upon, then it would be this guy, because he's not named. He's just a dude named Nurse. But let's go to our next character. This is a character I didn't like at all because he is on, I believe, Shun's route. He is a annoying fellow, very ambitious, and he's very obsessive towards Ren, and he basically drives her into a hole in the ground, basically. That's all I can really remember about this guy, because I just didn't like Ren's route like at all, really. After a certain point, when this guy showed up, it basically like, okay, let's just keep going, and I can be done as quickly as possible. But if I remember correctly, he was a painter prior to becoming a teacher. It has been a while, of course, like I said before. But yeah, that's all I can really say on this guy. Let's go to a character that's actually a character that actually intrigues me. This is Yuko. She's a character who drops some wisdom here and there. And she's a character that I actually wish was actually a romance option too, because she's just so adorable. She's very timid. She's also very helpful, and I believe she has some interactions with Hanako. But besides that, and a thing involving Kenji, there's not much else there. Not really, anyway. In the pre-alpha, she does appear, and there's a thing there that is really dark involving her. So trigger warning, it involves I don't know how to say this. It's yeah, that's the word. So it's an option in the game, is in the pre-alpha, that you can, when she gets really drunk at a party at Shanghai, at the Shanghai restaurant or tavern or inn, I can't remember what the hell it was. Hisao has the choice to attempt that, but it's not actually in the game. So it's not because they can restore it. It just wasn't there to begin with. Period. It's just an option that they were going to do. Yeah, like I said before, but pre-alpha is quite dark, and that's just how it is. Now, this next character is the most important character in my opinion, despite being a side character. This is Iwanako, or Iwanako. I think I pronounced it right the first time. Whatever. So she is Hisao's, well, crush, or rather former crush, basically. When, you know, they meet up, like, she confesses her love, and that's how the whole game starts. He has a whole heart attack and everything. We do not see her again ever after this. But we do get a letter from her on every single route, except for Kenji's, obviously. Depending on the character, you know, you go after, the letter is different. In one instance, you actually, I believe, had a choice to actually ball it up and not read it if you're still feeling like bitter about it. But that's only on one of the characters' routes, and I believe that's from Ren's. It's really hard for me to remember on that. But no matter the case, she sends you a letter, and that's the end. We don't hear about her anymore from there. It actually segues into how I think Hisao's life is just so sad once he goes into hospital. So his friends do end up visiting him a few times. You know, these are his close friends, you know, in his old school. But eventually they stop coming. and we do have names for them, but I cannot remember them for like the life of me. They're mentioned, I believe, not actually in games themselves, but from the devs. They just like say it on their blog, or rather their former blog. It's all gone now, if I remember correctly. Because they took down this whole site or whatever. But beyond that, there's not much to really say about her. She's a character who kind of jumpstarts the entire thing, and I think it's really her role is very pivotal, obviously, because if she doesn't confess, then of course Hasao doesn't have his heart attack. I do think that he would have it, regardless, but would he still have would he still have it while he's still in school is the question, and I think the answer is no, probably not, unless she confesses at a later date or he confesses to her. But let's go to our next character. This is Miki Miura. She gets hyped up during the I believe during Emmy's route, but she doesn't actually appear like at all. She's like a background character. Like she appears like in the backgrounds of like some images, which is really a shame because she is the second fastest runner in the entire school. You would think she would have a bit more prominence. She appears more during, I believe, I could be wrong about this, during Hanako's route. I could be wrong on that. But if I am, I apologize. Oh wait, no. Correction. Wait, no. So she does appear during Hanako's, and she appears during Lily's, but she's not mentioned at all, except for like a background appearance on Emmy's, which is just weird, in my opinion, at the very least. So she's another character who also cross dresses a bit. But she of course still wears, the whole skirt, but she has a tie on. And she also has on the male's top, which I think it really adds to her whole thing she has going on, which I think is pretty cool. What else about her that I really enjoyed? She is a tomboy. I like that. That's great. It's fucking great. And I recall her being rather what's the word? Very brash, and she was I think flirty. It's been so long, and she appears so little that I can't really remember, which is unfortunate. But I do recall her actually having a mod where you can actually it's like Summer Clover, something like that. That you play as like a whole different guy, and you can romance her. That's a whole thing there. But beyond that, that is all we have for the characters here. Now, would I recommend this visual novel? Well, yes, I would. This is a gateway visual novel. When you search up visual novels, this is one of the first few you'll see. Because one, it's fucking free. It's free, so of course, it'll have way more attention than these other visual novels that actually cost money. Which is, so damn good. And not only that, it also has an amazing story. You don't actually have to try and no matter what you do, you're kind of forced onto romance. You can't avoid it, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, you're playing this, you're probably gonna go for a romance anyway. You're not me, who wants to do a whole nun run and not be romantic. There's very few visual novels that actually let you do that, which is unfortunate in my opinion. I feel like there's a lot more character depth and growth you could do for the protagonist if you don't tie him solely to a single character or a group of characters, but we're not there yet, at least in my opinion. But beyond that, I really do suggest playing this. This is one of the best visual novels ever, and not only that, it's from the West. It's not from people from the it's not just from people from the West. This is a global effort. It's from people all across the world working on this game, back in the damn day, and it's just great. I recall that the main people behind it though, some of the top people in it were from America though, United States. But that's all to really say. This has been a amazing ride, and I do intend to do more visual novels in the future. But next one I don't know which one I want to do just yet. But I'm leaning towards School Days. But it's a very large game, which means I'm probably not going to be doing a visual novel video for a while. at least a week or two after, my standard stuff. But if you guys liked it, please like and subscribe for more, and peace.